Okay, again, welcome to Mind the Moment Tuesdays. My name is Kell Julliard, and I'll be your host today. Suzanne's not able to be with us. We've got some really interesting material to cover today. And I've got a question for you. Let's see if I can find my notes and paste that in the chat. But the question is, what have you been curious about lately? What is it that you've been curious about lately? And while you're typing in the chat, we'd love to hear anything that comes to mind that's piqued your curiosity, piqued your interest. I've been very curious about the weather, the comings and goings. I live up 1,000 feet above Amherst in Shutesbury, and about a week ago, we had a major ice storm, which left all the trees completely coated with ice. And I'm very curious about the comings and goings of this weather. Um, I'm seeing a comment in the chat about getting curious about the desire to control outcomes. Wow, what a great thing to be curious about. Really, that takes us right into the laboratory of our minds and hearts. And what is it that underlies this desire to control, and how do we work with that in a skillful way? Oh, I see a comment about what's normal. Oh, I love that. Yeah, getting curious about this word normal. And how do we think about what's normal for even for us as individuals, much less what's normal for human beings? A really fascinating question to dig into. Any other things you've been curious about? I see my mind's a wildfire. Haha, my curiosity shifts from day to day, moment to moment. Well, that's very much in line with what we're going to be doing today, because curiosity can really be a major benefit in terms of how we approach our lives in so many ways. And we'll be unpacking that together as we go through our practice and our discussion afterwards. I see a comment. I'm curious about time. Seems like my perspective of time has been off since 2020, right? The pandemic really shifted the way we relate to time. And I was comforted to discover that the physicists, the professional physicists, don't really understand time. It's still a mystery to them. So there's a lot of dimensions to time that are fascinating to think about. I see a comment, just adopted a rescue dog and curious about behaviors and thoughts behind it. Yeah, what was that dog's experience? What are they bringing? Maybe there's some patterns of their behavior that, you know, were affected by what happened before, and how can you help move those in a healthy way? Yeah, lots to be curious about there. The solar eclipse that's coming up in less than a week now, a fascinating thing to think about. Aging and brain health. And all of you who are here today, wow, that's a great thing to be curious about, because what we're doing here benefits your brain health as we age. There's a lot neuroscientists have learned about that mindfulness brings benefit to that, but a lot more we have to learn. Okay, so thank you so much for those wonderful comments. I've got more things to be curious about today. So we're going to do, as usual, our 12-minute practice. So let's just move right into that with curiosity. So take a moment to simply get settled in a good way in your chair, spine comfortably upright, body relaxed, so that we feel comfortable and at ease, and that we set this up as a pleasant experience. And let's just take a moment to move from that doing mode that we tend to be in at work or as we're getting ready for our day into just being. You might want to take a breath and just let it go, or stretch a little bit, whatever helps you move from doing into just being. And in this space of being, just let the mind rest, noticing that you're aware and alive in this moment. You don't have to do anything to create that. You can just notice this awareness and aliveness that's present spontaneously here and now. In this space of openness, you don't need to block anything. You can let emotions and moods come and go, thoughts come and go, sensations arise and pass away. Just notice that as all this happens, it's happening in the space of awareness itself. Awareness, our space of freedom and choice. And now let's move into considering curiosity. Often we think of curiosity as being about figuring something out, learning something, solving a problem of some kind. But in this practice today, let's think of curiosity as an experience, as a lived dimension of our lives right now, where we dive into the mystery of this moment without the need to even think about it or solve anything, just experiencing with wonder what's going on right now, exploring our lived experience in this moment. And to begin that, I'd invite you to bring awareness to your hands. Just notice what they feel like. And notice what their temperature is. Are they warm or cool or somewhere in between? Is there one hand or part of your hand that's warmer than another part? It's not important to figure that out. It's just important to experience it, to investigate this lived experience in the moment. Our awareness was drawn toward our hands. When our awareness gets drawn to something, that is curiosity. Seeing what's there right now. What is this experience we're having? So just be with that sensation in your hands, getting curious about how they're different from one another. Now I'm going to invite you to imagine that you've never experienced a human body before, and that your awareness is coming into your body as though it were brand new to you. And just feel your posture in this moment. Get curious about, how do you know you're sitting or standing in the posture that you're in? Just experience that posture, tuning into your body as a whole, the feeling of that posture, and the information that's coming from your body to tell you what is its orientation. What are the relationships of its parts to one another? What are the angles of your joints? As always, you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed, whatever is most comfortable to you. If your eyes are closed, try opening them for a moment. Just get curious about what it feels like to meditate with your eyes open. How is that for you? Just to know you're aware and alive in this moment, eyes open. And then gently letting your eyes close. And getting curious about what that feels like. How is that different from eyes open? How does your experience shift when you close your eyes? Your experience of your body, your level of comfort or ease. And then make a choice. Which one would you like to do for the rest of this practice? Eyes open, eyes closed. And you could even get curious about this power to choose, this inner wisdom that guides us in every moment. That knowingness that helps us understand what is a good direction for us to move in any moment. Now, returning to body sensations, let's get curious about gravity. Feeling the weight of our feet against the floor, of our body against the chair, the sensation of contact. Exploring what that feels like against our hips, against our back, against our feet. However you like, just getting curious about that. And I'd invite you to recognize the kindness that's spontaneously present right now. How what brought us to this practice is a wish to be in some way happier or to live a more skillful life, to, to be more comfortable in our lives with less suffering and pain, to be able to really have a healthy life. And that kindness is supporting us, each one of us, in carrying out this meditation. So just getting in touch with that warmth of heart that actually was present all along, from the moment you woke up, guiding you here to this practice together, and supporting all of us as we practice together. A wish for happiness and freedom from discomfort that is guiding us with wisdom. And now just let the mind rest again, letting go of the curious exploration that we've just done. Just letting the mind and heart rest as they are, present, aware, alive. Okay, that concludes our meditation for this morning. I invite you, if your eyes are closed, to gently open them, look around a little bit, just to come back to the space you're in, maybe stretch a little bit. And I'd invite you to carry something into this day. The practice that we just did comes out of the work of Dr. Judd Brewer, and we're going to talk about him more in this session. But he suggests a mantra to take with us throughout the day. And that mantra is, or huh, or It's the curiosity mantra. So as you go through your day, don't hesitate to go, and get curious about things as they unfold. So I'm wondering, any comments or questions or things to share, experiences with that practice? I see a comment, what brought me here today, knowing that time with this group brings me peace. Oh, that's lovely. Yes, and that's exactly it. That's our wish for happiness and freedom from suffering that's with us always. Love that mantra, may I be curious. I have a friend who says to me, you're one of the most curious people I've ever met. So it does seem to be a quality I've been working on for some time. I love it. Okay, so continue to key comments, questions, insights, experiences with that practice into the chat. But I'm going to move into talking about some opportunities coming up. I do see, let's see, trying open eyes never would have occurred to me, but it brought a different and interesting experience. So meditating with eyes open is a great thing to do occasionally if you don't already, because it's a bridge to bringing our practice into the flow of our life. So if we can work sometimes with meditating with eyes open, it really creates a bridge as we live our lives to drop into meditative awareness occasionally as we go throughout our day, during a difficult conversation, when we've got something to appreciate, something we could be grateful for, just to really savor this moment or bring awareness to the moment. So I want to talk more about Dr. Judd Brewer. He's a neuroscientist and psychiatrist, MD, PhD, who spent over 2 decades researching behavior change in a scientific way, developing tools to help us replace unhelpful habits with new habits that really help promote our health, our growth, that empower us, that enhance our well-being. So he's come out with a new book called The Hunger Habit, which is really about how we can transform our relationship with food and eating. But the principles in the hunger habit apply to all habits. So it's not just around eating. They're really very useful in terms of all of our habits. So I'm going to share a slide about this. So let me just get to my PowerPoint and switch to the right slide deck. Okay, I've got to get this into presentation mode and come back to our Mind the Moment. And I'm going to share my screen now. So what we've got that is available to you is a seminar by Dr. Brewer unpacking this science around what makes a habit and how do we change habits in a good way. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste a link in the chat, which will take you to the recording of the session that Dr. Brewer just did. So give me a second to copy that. And I need to get to the chat. Okay, so the link to that recording has now been pasted in the chat, which you can click on or copy by clicking the three dots to the right. You can copy that link or just click on it if that works for you. So this will be a series of interactive, so this, the link that I've put in is an hour-long talk by Dr. Brewer. And I'm going to put another link in the chat, which is a link to a page about seminars that I'm going to be doing. So these are every Wednesday evening in April for 45 minutes, 6:30 to 7:15 p.m. It's really coaching sessions that will help you apply the principles that Judd talks about in the book and in the talk I just gave you the link to. They're completely free to anybody. They don't require any prerequisites or pre-knowledge. Okay, I see the links are not showing up. Oh, I see why. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. All right, so here's the link to registering for my talk. Okay, I'm going to stop the share, and then I'll put the link in again for watching Judd's recording. Oh, wait, okay, yes, right. All right. So thank you, those of you that typed in the chat, letting me know that. So now you should see the links, three dots to the right. You can copy them or click on them to bring them up in your browser. So we've got a few more minutes. I'd love to alert you to some of the key concepts that we're going to be going over in this. And I see a question in the chat. Do we have to read the book? Absolutely not. This is the great thing. You'll get a lot of material that's in the book, but in a very practical way that you can apply immediately. So don't have to buy the book, don't have to read the book. Dr. Judd also has apps related to stopping smoking, healthy eating, unwinding anxiety. Those are great, but again, you don't need to buy those or do those. This is all free to you. And it's a way of applying these principles and learning about them without having to do anything else. Okay, so let's talk for a second about some of the content. There's a lot of us, when we try to change a habit, we rely on willpower. And willpower is great. It's what enables us to resist temptation sometimes, to deal with a difficult challenge. But willpower is limited and it runs out. And when it runs out, we tend to fall back into old habits. So are there ways that we can change habits that are not serving us? in a way that doesn't involve willpower? And the answer is a resounding yes. And that's what we're going to be working with, are how we change a habit in a way that involves curiosity, kindness, that resets the reward value of the habit. We tend to engage in habits because they're rewarding in some way. And there's a part of our brain that tracks the relative rewards of different things in our lives. And if we encounter something that, wow, that was an amazing, wonderful experience, that gets loaded into the reward hierarchy in a very high spot. So that tends to be what we come back to. So a habit almost always has some kind of short-term payoff. There's some reason, something that we experience that's beneficial from that habit. And that keeps it locked in its place in the reward hierarchy. But as we bring curiosity, kindness, and awareness to the habit, we begin to notice that the longer-term consequences of the habit are not so great, and that they don't really serve us, and that the short-term consequences, the short-term benefit is not worth the long-term problems that the habit causes. With eating, that could be, oh, I just ate a whole bag of cookies and now my stomach hurts. And even though I really enjoyed the cookies while I was eating them, or maybe they just helped me not feel something that I didn't want to feel, even though there was that short-term payoff, the not feeling good in the stomach, now I've got to take a nap and I'm sluggish through the rest of the day. We can see that's not worth it. So as we bring curiosity and kindness to this process and really experience the results of the habit, it shifts it in the reward hierarchy. So we're going to really, there are tools that Dr. Judd has developed to investigate these things, ways of really tuning into our bodies so that we can be more acutely aware of the results of our behaviors, and ways of understanding cravings, of what's driving the eating. Are we eating to emotions? What's triggering the habits? And all of these can profoundly alter a variety of habits, whether they're relating to eating or other things that we would like to shift, just by bringing awareness. So we've got these 4 sessions, and we're going to unpack these over time, and there'll be action steps, things to take home and do. So feel free to pass this information along. Feel free to register and join. So I'm wondering, any questions or comments about, feel free to put that in the chat before we close for today. Yes, I see your comment. That's a lot to digest. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I heartily recommend this. I've given you a very brief thumbnail of this, but there's really a lot of rich, positive, transformational material that we'll be covering in these sessions. So I hope to see you there, and please pass it along to your friends and colleagues. Okay, well, not seeing anything else in the chat, I wish you a great week, and remember to bring curiosity and kindness to your experience of today and really to every day. Always so lovely to be with you. Thanks for participating. Thanks for the practice. Hope you have a great week. And thanks those of you who commented in the chat. It's really lovely to read. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.